Hello, everyone. Welcome to Herbert's Thoughts Healing Series, Episode 2. So come on in the room. Come on in the room. Let me tag a few folks. I'm going to share it out. We'll just hang on and tag a few folks. Tag a few more folks. Just adding a few of my people. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. Hello, Zoe. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. Just waiting on a few more people to come on. We're doing our healing series. Making sure everyone can hear me. All right. Just wanted to make sure everyone could hear me. So, thanks again so much for coming on. Hi, Prophet Yami. How are you doing? I haven't seen you on here in a while. I hadn't seen you in a little bit. So make sure you all share out the live. We're going to be talking about boundaries and breakthroughs, okay? Boundaries and breakthroughs. So I'll give people a few moments to get on here. And let's see here. I just want to add a few people in. Again, we're going to be talking about boundaries and breakthroughs. Boundaries and breakthroughs. Okay, let me go back to my other page. I'm just giving people a few moments to come in. Just giving everybody a few more moments to come in. Okay. So come on in the room. Come on in. Make sure my head ain't sticking up. And how y'all doing, Miss Sandra Plumes? How are you doing? How are you doing? Thank you all again so much for coming on. Let's see. Let me just tag a few people. Let me see here. I'm going to try to do this on both of my platforms, well, all of my platforms. So y'all would just bear with me. Hey, Tasha Johnson, thanks so much for joining. Okay, I did send out an early notification. I didn't send one out on here on TT Land, but I did send one out on the other one. So I'm just going to share it out over there, and then we will get started. All right. So I did share it out, and I did tag some people. So they should be coming in, and we're not going to hold on too much longer. Share it one more place, and then we're going to get started, y'all. Okay. Thank y'all so much for hanging on here. Hang on here with me. Hang on here with me. Hang on in here with me. All right. Come on in here with me, guys. Okay. So tonight's topic, and I do have my notes, of course, with me. But tonight we're going to be talking about, and I'll be looking from both screens, of course, so y'all bear with me. But this is our healing series, episode 2, boundaries and breakthroughs. Boundaries and breakthroughs. Isn't that light good enough, TikTok? But again, boundaries and breakthroughs. This is about reclaiming your right to say no without guilt, right? We have to understand and create healthy boundaries, and basically in order to have like a foundation for healing and personal empowerment. That's the whole, premise of Hey and Delete Name. Thanks for joining. And Leanne Reed, thank you so much for joining here on TT Land. I appreciate you guys. Hey, and whoever joined us in FB Land, I appreciate you all as well. So, but I'll go ahead and get started with some of our key concepts, you guys. So Number one is, why are boundaries essential to healing? And I'll repeat that. Why are boundaries essential to healing? Boundaries are not about pushing people away. No, not at all. They're about protecting your peace. Then when boundaries are clear, relationships will become more honest, right? Because you let people know up front, what you like and don't like, what you will accept and won't accept. You have to let people know. They don't know, but just by reading your mind, right? And the third one is, lack of boundaries leads to resentment, burnout, and emotional exhaustion. Again, the lack of boundaries leads to resentment, burnout, and emotional exhaustion. Who's tired of being tired, right? Who's tired of being sick and tired? I know I am. Right. Okay, so every time you say yes to something that harms you, you're saying no to your healing. Let that sink in for a minute. Every time you say yes to something that harms you, you're saying no to your healing. Now, who wants to do that? Who wants to say no to our healing, right? No one. No one that I know. And this will move us to, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to put it in the chat as well. And I see I'll tag a few more people here. And let's see here. As you all are coming in the room, come on in the room. Let's see, come on in the room. Okay. But yeah, y'all come on in the room. And thanks so much for coming in. And I don't know who else is on. Let's see. All right. And let's see. And I will share it out to one more place. And then we will continue on. Okay, there we go. So again, thank y'all so much for your patience. I appreciate it. I don't usually add TT on my live, but I'm trying something different now. So I'm trying to add it all on my other device. So y'all bear with your sister. Okay. So again, now we're gonna go with point number 2. Saying no without guilt. So how many of y'all have trouble with that? Saying no without guilt? Let me know in the comments if anyone has trouble saying no. Let me make sure that it's accepting comments. Let's see. Yep, it's accepting comments. So make sure y'all let me know where you're joining in from. Say hi in the comments. Let me know where you're joining in from. Say hi in the comments. Hey, Kit Kat, thank you so much for joining. If you're still in here, thank y'all so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. And so we're gonna have my notes down here, of course, as well. A good instructor has notes, right? So guilt often comes from old beliefs that your value lies in your compliance. Guilt comes from old beliefs that your value lies in your compliance, meaning that you have to be yes, yes, yes. You have to just whatever anybody asks you to do or say or whatever, you just do it. As long as you're a guru and you just going along just to get along, that's more like compliance. And so that's where that guilt comes from. Those old beliefs and values. And that's how you live in your life. So it's okay to feel guilty and still uphold your boundary. It's okay. Hey, Latoya, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. We're just talking about tonight our healing series. This is episode 2, boundaries and breakthroughs. Boundaries and breakthroughs. And let me know if you would like to be a guest. You're more than welcome to come in. Again, boundaries and breakthroughs. And something that I had to learn, no is a complete sentence, right? And it's a sacred one. Like, it's yours. Nobody can take that away from you. That's your no. And once you say no, that's it. Point blank, period, right? That's how it should be. But a lot of times we don't do that. We're going to say no, but all right. Or they give you a sob story or just whatever. Hi, Whitmore. Thank you so much for joining. And from Clearwater, I appreciate you. But yeah, you will sit there. Hey, Zenobia, we'll sit there and we'll say, hey, I can't, I said no, but And then they be like, oh, we really, really need to do it, and then you go ahead and do it. No, your no should have been your no, and that was it. Your no should have been your no, and that was it. Hey, Zenobia, your no should be your no, and that's it, point blank. It shouldn't be no changing up or none of that stuff. Just it. And again, hi Whitmore. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. I know you were right here. Okay. But yes, and so again, like I said, your no, period. No, point blank, period. Now, this brings us to our third point. And make sure y'all tapping the screen over here in TT land. Make sure y'all tapping the screen. But number 3 again is rewriting your self-worth narrative. Rewriting your self-worth narrative. And this is a big one. Many people pleasers believe that their worth must be earned through sacrifice. Even with jobs, oh, I gotta work hard to get what I gotta get. You don't have to beat yourself down and work yourself to the bone to be worthy. And Whitmore, you said you learned that no can be said and not need an explanation. Right, exactly. No can be said and not, no, that's it. It's a complete sentence. Yeah, I had to learn that myself. Like I was like, oh, no, but, or no, this is why. No, that's it. No, that's all you need to say is just no, point blank, no. And leave it there. Leave it right there at the door, right? No, just point blank. Thank you so much for following me on TT. And again, like I said, we have to rewrite our, your self-worth narrative, right? Boundaries declare I matter just as I am. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have, hey, hey, Global Gospel Good Music. No, yeah, Carmelita. How you doing? Thanks so much for coming in. And if you would like to come up, feel free. I know you don't like the camera. You like being behind the scenes. But again, like I said, boundaries declare I matter just as much. I matter just as I am. I matter just as I am. I matter with my different colors in my hair, my little edges showing. I matter. I matter whether I got my glasses on or off. I matter, regardless. I matter whether I'm helping you out or not. I matter still. Whether I can help you or not, I still matter, right? So that's what we have to remind ourselves, right? It was hard for you, Whitmore. I get it. And no, it's not disrespectful. It's not. It's not disrespectful because it basically is disrespectful to yourself to, say, oh, well, I'm not going to look out for my well-being. I'm just going to look out for theirs. Hey, how you doing, girl? Thanks so much for coming in. And if you have any thing to elaborate on the conversation, feel free to let me know. But we're just talking about boundaries and things like that. And how basically no is a complete sentence. Okay, she paused her live. Thank y'all so much. But so yeah, like you don't have to feel bad about certain things. You don't have to. Oh, I can't do this. I can't. Right, that part exactly. That part. Can you hear me, Carmelita? Because it's echo. Yes, I can hear you now. It was echo, and I can hear you now. Okay, great. All right. So, are you doing okay today?
I am. I just finished driving. I'm gonna hop off. I just wanted to support real quick.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Well, be safe. I'm glad you finished. Had a safe drive. Be safe.
Yes. Y'all have a good night.
All right. You too. Thank you. And all right, I'm just saying hi to a few people that are popping in on TT. Hi, Dynamic Queen. Thank you so much for coming in. And Lamy, thanks so much for joining. 144,000 chosen. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you all joining the live. And again, like I said, back to the the topic at hand. You were not created to be used. You were not created to be a doormat, as they say. You don't have to let people just walk all over you. You were created to be cherished. Not right now, okay? You were created to be cherished. Excuse me, y'all, grandkids. Everybody know I'm a grandma. But I have to set those boundaries with them too. Right. Gotta set those boundaries, right? And it's hard. Thanks so much for joining. I see you. See you. Can't see your name, but I see you. Thanks so much for coming in. Okay, it's asking me to invite you. I'm still learning all about TT on here, so I'm getting used to all that. But again, back to what I was talking about. Basically, um, you're not created to be used, right? We're not doormats. We're not just here for you to just walk all over us or nothing like that. We were created to be cherished. God cherished us. He created us in His image, uniquely, not for us to be used and abused. That's not what He created us for. I know that's not what I was created for, and I'm sure that's not what you were created for, right? So why do we allow people to use and abuse us? That's the thing we need to think about. Why do we allow people to use and abuse us? If anybody has the answer to that question, let me know. Why do we let people use and abuse us? Let me know in the comments. Why? How your answer to that question? Let me know in the comments. Why do you, or why have you before let people use and abuse you? Let me answer that question for me. Answer that question for me. Let me know in the comments. Just inviting a few more people before we get off of here. But yeah, why do you let people use and abuse you though? That's not what you were created for. That is not what the Father created us for. To be used and abused. We have to protect our peace. And part of that is saying no. Learning how to say no. And sticking with that. If you're tired, somebody needs your assistance, and you're not able, you don't have the capacity to take care. Right, it ties into your self-worth. Exactly, Whitmore. It ties into your self-worth. How do you feel about yourself? And I know they say, you are your brother's keeper, love one another as Christ loved the church. We're not Christ, for one. But yes, we are to love one another, but we also are supposed to love ourselves like He loves us, right? So how are we doing that if we're not protecting ourselves? We're not protecting our rest. We're not protecting our time. We're not protecting our thoughts, just our emotions. If we're not protecting ourselves, then we're not doing Him justice. We're not honoring Him. He created us, right? So we got to start remembering our self-worth and stop negotiating. Stop negotiating with your self-worth. Why are you negotiating with your self-worth? Like that's not something that you're supposed to be doing. You don't navigate your self-worth. You're supposed to be worth more than diamonds and rubies, right? So why are you negotiating with it and just let people do you any kind of way? We need to stop that. And I know I won't say we as women, but I do speak for women because I am, and a lot of us, we do allow people to take us for granted and to step all over those boundaries. And that's whether it's your children, your family member, other family members, spouses, and everything. Said people will be more prone to giving you less if they know it. Right, exactly. They will take full advantage of it. And oh yeah, she don't take much. She don't, that's exactly what they're gonna do. That's exactly what they're gonna do. They're gonna say, okay, yeah, she don't cry much, or he don't cry much, or they whatever I go ask them, they're gonna say yeah. So let me just go ahead and ask them, and you're gonna be the first person they go to for everything. When they can either try to do it themselves or they can reach out to somebody else for help. I mean, I get people, people need things, sometimes help or whatever it is, but sometimes you're not meant to be the one to help them all the time. Sometimes it's meant for them to figure it out on their own, and help themselves, right? So we got to start learning to put our boundaries in place and recognize that, hey, someone is trying to step over my boundary. It's a boundary for a reason, right? It's not just there just to be there. It's boundary. It's there for a reason. So we got to remember and remind ourselves that our worth was never meant to be negotiated. It's not a plea deal, plea bargain, or whatever. There's no negotiations. It is what it is. If I say no, that's no. If I say I can't do it, that's I can't do it. No, that's it. If I don't, like your company, no, that's it. I remember it was probably last year or sometime. There was a young guy, young, I won't say a couple. It was a young girl and a young guy. And I say young, I want to say maybe in their early 20s or college level, I think. And if I remember correctly, I believe he might have been playing basketball or something. But he tried to approach the young lady, and she told him no, she wasn't interested. and he took her life. Matter of fact, I have to look back through my TikTok TTs, but I made a video about it too because it struck me, with the domestic violence and everything. Just because she said she wasn't interested, he went and found, went back and took her, unalived her. Like, if that's not a boundary breach, I don't know what is. I mean, that's severe, but that's just shows you just how important it is. And how people will step over your boundaries. They don't care. She just said, no, I don't like you, in so many words. But and he couldn't handle no. Some people cannot handle no, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't say no. I mean, your no is your no. Your no is your no, no matter what. You stand on it. Stick to your guns. Like, stick to your nose. I watch my words. Stick to your nose. And just stand on it. And that's what you do. And I'm gonna hold on because nobody's on there. Okay, so but yeah, your no is your no. You need to stand on that. Don't let nobody, make you do anything less. Don't let anybody force you into doing things. You don't have to do that. If you say no, then it's no, right? It's just no, plain no. But I just have a challenge for you all before we leave here. I want you to create your non-negotiables list, and I will put it in the chat for you all. Create your non-negotiables list, and you don't have to put it in here. But hold on, I'm gonna read it for you. This non-negotiables list. Okay. All right. You say yes, ma'am. My mama would tell me what they did before you. My mama would tell me what they did before you when I would overexhaust myself for friends, and now it makes it right. They got along fine before me, and I wasn't made to help everyone, right? But I wouldn't. But why wouldn't they do it when I was overly ready to help? Exactly. I had to learn that too. Like, people will really take advantage of you. They will take advantage of you, and it's like, okay, well, what was you doing before you met me? What was you doing when I wasn't even around? How was you getting by then? So it'd be simple stuff that really they could do themselves, or they could ask somebody else. But like I said, I get might ask somebody something sometimes, but if I'm the only person that you coming to, that's a problem. That is a big problem. And I had to learn that. I had to really, really learn that, because that was a big thing with me. Like I said, with the people pleasing, it was just like ingrained in my brain. And I had to learn, okay, I'm sitting here just getting burned out and doing this and that. And then when I need something, oh no. Mm-mm. Or if I say no, no, I could say no. I mean, there was one incident, and I had a friend, and I'm always, here, sure, I help, whatever it is, sure, if I got it, you got it, whatever, And then it came a point where I had to say no, because I just genuinely didn't have it, not out of malice or mad. I mean, it might have been my last, but I just really didn't have it to spare. Um, Everything just blew up. Everything just literally, whew. And I'm like, really? What happened here? Like, really, what happened? And I mean, it just really blew my mind. Like, all I did was say no, I couldn't do that. And then that's when you changed up on me all of a sudden and flipped the script on me. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. It really does not make any sense. It doesn't. And I was like, I just couldn't believe it. But yeah, and I guess I'll take some of that blame and saying that I should have been saying no more often. Cause yeah, like you were just saying, if they're used to you always saying yes, always okay, yes, all right, yes, sure, I'll do. Then they don't know how to handle it when you finally say, okay, look, no, I can't do this, no, or just no. So it's important for you to utilize your no, and believe in yourself. Know that you're worth more. You're worth having someone, you tell somebody no and they're okay with it. You're worth that, right? Because you ask them for something, they know they're not going to think two things about it, right? So just remember that you are worthy. You're worth saying no when you don't feel like it, or you can't do it, or whatever. You are worth it. So again, I want you all to, if you can, to create your own non-negotiables list if you don't already have one. Create that list, and so you will have a safe, in a safe space for you to remind yourself that you are worthy, that you don't have to say no. I mean, excuse me, you don't have to say yes all the time. See, I'm getting used to that no word, right? Yes, I'm glad it helped. I'm glad it helped, Whitmore. I'm glad. That's because that is how we have to do. We have to talk about things in order to heal from those things. That's how it does. We have to talk about them. In order to process it. And you say if we ourselves don't feel with it. I'm looking at both screens for the comments, but yeah, that's just how I feel about things. You have to you have to protect your peace at all costs. Really, you got to protect it at all costs. So a couple of affirmations I would like to say is, one is, I will not explain or apologize for my boundaries. And put that in the comments for me. I will not explain or apologize for my boundaries. Because why are we explaining and apologizing? It's a boundary for a reason. We're not supposed to be apologizing for it. No, I can't. I'm not. No, that's it. Period. And then there's another one is, I will not remain in relationships that dishonor my voice. Again, let me repeat that for those in the back. I will not remain in relationships that dishonor my voice. Your voice is honorable. Your voice is worthy. Why are you silencing yourself? Why are you staying in a relationship that silences your voice? Right. I will not explain or apologize for my boundaries. That's right, Whitney. I will not explain or apologize for my boundaries. We're not doing that. And I will not remain in relationships that dishonor my voice. I will not remain in relationships that dishonor my voice. And that's a huge one too, because if your voice is being dishonored constantly in that relationship, or even at all, why are you in that relationship? Whether it's friendship, husbandship, wifeship, situation, whatever ship, why are you remaining in there? If your voice is being dishonored, your voice doesn't matter in that relationship. What's the whole point of you even being in there? That's more of like a dictatorship, right? And we're not doing no dictatorships. We're not doing that. But I would not remain in relationships that dishonor my voice. We're not doing that no more. We are not doing that no more. And our last and final, our last and final, affirmation is, I require respect in both words and actions. I require respect in both words and actions, because people can just say anything. Oh, I'm gonna, respect your boundaries, or I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna honor you. But how are they showing it to you? Are they actually putting forth effort to do it? Are they saying, okay, well, I'm gonna honor you, I'm gonna respect you. So, when they come to you and ask you for something, are they gonna respect your no and accept it, right? Because accepting and respecting kind of goes hand in hand with that. Send me those affirmations. Sure, I can. I definitely will send those to you. And they will not, you don't want them to dishonor you. Again, like I said, you require respect in both words and actions. Don't just let them say, okay, well, I respect you. But how are they respecting you? Are they showing you that they respect you? You know, you got to pay attention to those kind of things. Like, what are they doing? Are they, when you all are out together, are they, giving you that respect if someone else comes up to them, and, are they saying, well, hey, this is so and so, or just, disregarding you and just going on about the conversation, not even introducing you. And like I said, this is not necessarily in intimate relationships. This is also in friendships. Or they just not introduce, oh, this is my friend so and so, here, nice, and then talking to the person, or they just, oh, hey, and just ignoring you, like you just not even there. That's a disregard for you. That's not respect. That's not respect at all. So you got to pay attention to the actions as well as their words. Pay attention to those. And if you have some as well, put some of those in the comments too. If you all have some of your own, affirmations towards this, let me know. And I have one final affirmation, a big one. My boundaries are not punishments. Again, my boundaries are not punishments. They are declarations of self respect. I have the right to protect my peace. Isn't that all of what I said basically in so many words? Each sentence individually, rather. I have the right to protect my peace. My boundaries are not punishment. That's what people think, that the word no is automatic punishment, or that they don't like you, or excuse me, they don't like you, or they just being mean. They just saying no, just be. No, it doesn't mean that they don't like you. They don't want to be friend no more, whatever, or they don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. That's not what a boundary means. It's not punishment. Because if it's punishment, then that's a whole nother thing, whole nother topic. Like, that's more either some dictatorship, whatever, or some controlling behaviors. That's a whole nother, like I said, in relationships, that's a whole nother topic. But no, boundaries are not punishments. If they're trying to punish you, then that's not love anyway. That's not love. That's not like none of the either one of them. That's not what that is. So just remember again that my boundaries are not punishments. They are declarations of self respect, and I have the right to protect my peace. So keep that with you. Keep that in your heart. If you're taking notes, write that down in your notes. And I hope this resonated with you all, and those of you that catch this in the replay. I hope that this touched you in the way that needed to be touched, or that you get the message the way you need to be getting it. And again, thank you, Whitney, so much for hanging in here with me. I do appreciate it, and I'm glad that it was not just in vain. That it was something that you needed as well. The Lord knows what we need when we need it, right? And so I'm thankful of that, and I appreciate you for hanging in here with me. And I don't try to keep you all on here too long, but this was a good topic. Like I said, topics that I have that the Lord lays on my heart to choose, I need them to. So you're not alone. You're not alone in this journey. You're not alone. So again, I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight, and for those who catch the replay. Put in hashtag replay or a comment. Let me know that you enjoyed something that you watched, or that something resonated with you, that it meant something to you. And tune in next week. We will have our episode 3, and I will release that topic, a little bit beforehand. But again, this is part of our healing series. And that's what Hairbed's Thoughts is all about, is helping people on their healing journey. And so we can all heal together and be a happy, healthy people on this earth, right? Happy, healthy people. So again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And until next time, I'll see you later. Good night.